In this video, we're going to talk about what has transpired in WNBA free agency in 2025. And I warn you, I tend to be a little bit snarky. So if you're looking for the everything is wonderful and they're doing a great job of rebuilding their team, you probably need to go to Q's channel because I call it like I see it. And I might be wrong on this, but sometimes I look at these teams and I'm like, what are you doing? Before we start, if you enjoy the content, then please consider subscribing to the channel and giving the video a like. All right, let's get into this. So one of the first ones in the what are they doing category, the Atlanta Dream. They fire their coach Wright because they want this new innovative offense and bring in the college coach Semesco, who's a three-point shooting specialist or analytical guy that wants all this three-point shooting. And what do? They go out and they sign Brittany Griner and Brianna Jones. So I'm not sure what their thought process is there. Maybe they looked at Dallas and said, my God, Tiara McCowan and Kalani Brown, that works so well together. We just need to replicate that and bring these two free agents in here to run our brand new coaches spread offense. And before I kill the next team, let me give praise where praise is due. Not all the teams in the WNBA are silly or make bad decisions. There is one team that is playing chess while the rest are playing checkers, and that is the Minnesota Lynx. Cheryl Reeve can put together a WNBA roster like nobody's business. She was able to rebuild without doing a full-on tank, which is pretty incredible. And that is due in large part as she got the best player in the 2019 draft, Nafisa Collier, at the number 6 pick. Like 5 other teams, Dallas, Chicago, Indiana, the Liberty, and the Aces all passed up on fee, and there you go. She got a franchise player, and then she has just built beautifully around her. And they lost a really nice piece in the expansion draft. They lost Xanda Lassini, who can shoot and is athletic and plays defense, but don't worry. And a move you will not hear about, but she has signed, first of all, she signed her backup point guard, Heidemann, to another 1-year contract as well. They have signed Badillon, who is a French player. So Mariam Badillon, you probably don't know who she is. She played against Team USA in the gold medal game this year. She's able to guard Asia Wilson, but at times I see her matched up on Chelsea Gray, and she's going to fit into exactly what Minnesota does. Minnesota loves international players because they pass the ball, they can all shoot, and this is just another piece for them to have that just makes them that much better going into the 2025 season. Not to mention, if you're not aware, they own the swap rights to the Chicago Sky's 2026 pick, as they traded down a few spots to allow the Sky to take Angel Reese, and that's the price the Sky had to pay. And looking at the Chicago Sky roster, they will likely be a lottery team if you look at their lineup. So their big free agent signing so far has been Vandersloot as well. They traded Lindsay Allen to the Connecticut Sun for Beck Allen. They continue to have Rachel Bannon on their roster. I don't know if they'll keep her or not. And then add that with Cardoso and Reese. And they have, in a really good move, they did sign Michaela Onyenwere. But overall, you can see what they're doing here. We're going to reset our culture, bring a whole bunch of veterans in like Vandersloot, Beck Allen, Kian Nurse to really make sure our locker room is sorted. But the problem with that is the pieces that they're bringing in are old. Vandersloot, Beck Allen is never healthy. Kian Nurse is a few years past her prime, and I just don't see it. If they make the playoffs, they're definitely going to be like an 8 seed, in my opinion. The team that's made some interesting moves, and I think it'll be a line ball on how it goes, is the Phoenix Mercury. So obviously they have Copper already, but they made the big trade to get Alyssa Thomas, and then they made the subsequent trade to get Satu Sabally, and then they have Kalani Brown from Dallas as well, in addition to Uzon. Now, I assume Diana Taurasi is coming back. If we haven't heard anything at this stage, it would seem like she's coming back. The other one that I'm assuming but don't have any word or nobody's really said anything, but it seems very likely that Dewana Bonner, she will sign with the Mercury as well because she's married to Thomas. So you could see those two on the same team, and that gives them some length, and that's an interesting lineup. I like the pairing of Satu Sabally if she can stay healthy with Thomas, because Thomas can't shoot, obviously, but that gives you that inside-outside combination a little bit. So you could sort of have Thomas play the 5, but Sablé give more protection at the rim, and Sablé providing the shooting that Thomas doesn't give you. And then you have Copper combined with Bonner. They're long on the wings. And Uzan, she struggled with Dallas, obviously, but her defensive numbers were good. Like her off-on defensive numbers. Could she develop and be fine? At least with the Mercury, I can see what they're trying to do. It might work, it might not, but it makes sense to me. If the Mercury are good, then the big loser is Chicago, because Chicago owns the right to swap their pick with the Mercury via the Marina Mabrey trade. Like the Sun owned the swap rights to the Mercury's pick, and that's gone to Chicago. So Chicago's hoping that the Mercury are terrible, but at this stage, I think they'll be a playoff team. Now, the next team, Dallas, I give them a bit of a pass because it's Kurt Miller. He's taking over the mess of Greg Bibb and trying to clean it up as best he can. But their lineup, it's not real good. It'll be Arike Agumawale, Tierra McCowan, Maddie Siegrist, Lou Lopez Seneschal, Jaylen Brown, Nalissa Smith, and then they've just traded for Carrington. So they traded J.C. Sheldon to the Sun for Carrington, and they also gave up the number 8 pick that they got from Indiana. Obviously, the other piece they got from Indiana was Nalissa Smith, and they also got Ty Harris from Phoenix as part of that 3-team trade. Now, I have had a back and forth with Dallas fans, which I enjoy on my channel, over 2 main issues. So one was, I have always been critical of them taking J.C. Sheldon. I thought they should have taken Aaliyah Edwards, because I always envisioned Natasha Howard leaving as a free agent. I was surprised about Satou Sablé, but I just always thought that was a reach for Sheldon, and then trying to go into last season with Sheldon being their point guard was just always not going to work. I think I win that one because they still don't have a really good power forward. I mean, you really don't want to go into your season hoping on Nalissa Smith. And then in addition to that, they've traded J.C. Sheldon. So I think I take the W on that one. The next one, I might be taking the L on. It certainly looks like they are gearing up to take Paige Bueckers, and because they're clearing space for her, and it seems like they have a spot at guard that they will need her to fill, seeing that they got rid of their young, potentially point guard of the future, J.C. Sheldon. Now, a little bit of a prediction here. If Dallas was to trade Bueckers' rights because she said she would not come to Dallas. Now, she hasn't said that as well. Relax, Dallas fans. I'm just playing hypothetical here. The one team I think that probably has the best assets to trade to get Paige Bueckers would be Minnesota, and I could see it work for both teams. Cheryl Reeve has always struggled to fill the point guard spot. She has Courtney Williams, but it's not a real good, perfect fit. I could see her giving up parts to try to bring Paige Bueckers in. At the same time, that would be Dallas trying to make the best of a bad situation. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if I was thinking for any trading partner for Dallas, keep an eye on Minnesota and the parts that they have. The last team that I will take a look at is the Indiana Fever. Now, I am not bullish on the moves they have made like everybody else. Like, if you look at it, Indiana Fever have a new look like a WNBA championship contender. And what is all the excitement about? Well, they re-signed Kelsey Mitchell, who they cored and signed her for $250 essentially. In addition, they have traded for Sophie Cunningham. Her contract doesn't cost much. She's on a year deal for $100K. Supposedly the theory is they want to get more shooters around Caitlin Clark. Fine. And with those signing and with who's on the roster, I have it that they had approximately $300K left under the salary cap, and then they announced that they were bringing in Natasha Howard, who is a free agent from Dallas, and I think that's part of the big celebration. Natasha Howard, they finally figured out the 4th spot, and everything is going to be wonderful in Indiana. But I look at the Fever, and I'm like, man, your big problem last year was defense, and you have not addressed it. And that's going to be the problem going into the new season. Kelsey Mitchell is not good on the perimeter. Same thing with Caitlin Clark. In addition, Natasha Howard, her on-off numbers for Dallas were bad. So when she was on the court, opponents scored 114 points per 100 possession. When she was off the court, that went down to 105 points per possession. Now, I have no issue with them letting Nalissa Smith or trading her away to Dallas as their defense was 9 points worse with her on the court, but don't understand why they didn't try to bring back Fag Binlay as their defense was 6 points better with her on the court. The other one, thinking outside of the box, and we don't know what happened behind the scenes, but if I was the Indiana Fever, when Jewell Loyd went on the market, I would have really kicked the tires on that, as I think that would have been a really nice pairing with Caitlin Clark. And I wonder if there was a scenario there where they could have traded Kelsey Mitchell for Jewell Loyd, and I think that would have been a good trade, as Jewell Loyd can play better defense than Mitchell. Mitchell's on off, so defense was 5 points worse with her on the court versus off, versus Loyd, who the defense was 3 points, or they gave up 3 less points with her on the court versus when she was off the court. In the pairing of her and Caitlin Clark, I think that would have been really, really good. The other thing I don't understand is adding Sophie Cunningham to this roster. I keep on saying they need perimeter defense. Sophie Cunningham is not going to give that to you. At times they played her at the 5 when they were undersized and Griner was still in detainment. But yeah, I don't understand why they brought Sophie Cunningham in, as they really need somebody long, like a Michaela Onyenwere would have been perfect for this team, in my opinion. Or another option they should have considered and seen if they could swing it was trying to trade for Xanda Lassini, who went to the Valkyries, seeing if they could have given up some assets to bring her in, as that would have been a better fit for what they need. I think she offers better defense than what is provided by Cunningham. Now, I imagine Fever fans will be upset with me and have a crack at me in the comments, and that's fine. But overall, it should be fun for you guys because, hey, you're going to see if you can outscore the other teams. Like previously, it's shown that generally defense wins championships in the WNBA, but maybe Caitlin Clark is such a freak that you'll be able to outscore everybody and make me eat my words that what they've done is a bit of a disaster here. But I'm just not seeing it. And I question when they fired Lynn Dunn, bringing in the new management team, and they really hadn't done much in the WNBA, and I think it reflects this in looking at the moves they've done. And they're running out of time, really, because Aaliyah Boston only has 3 more years on a garbage contract, and then she'll need to start to be paid, and that really limits what their flexibility will be moving forward. I mean, if I look at free agency, I think the big winner so far is Cheryl Reeve with getting Badion, and if the Fever would have gotten her, that would have been a home run for them. I think she would have fit in quite nice, would have been the perfect player for them, but they didn't. And once again, like I say, Cheryl Reeve plays chess while everybody else plays checkers. And usually what happens with that is the coaches get fired. It'll be interesting. The year of 24, or the end of year 24, was about firing of the coaches, as they all paid the price. I wonder at the end of 25 if the GMs like Padover, who gave Jordan Canada probably too much and overreached on her contract, and now bringing Griner and Jones in, and if Jeff Pagliacca, the Sky GM, if he will pay the price, if the Sky don't make the playoffs, as they're already on their second coach during his tenure, and once again, they will not have their draft day pick. If they are bad, as that will go to the Lynx. Anyway, your comments, your poison, it's all welcome. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a great night.